Hi everybody, welcome to my BiNational life, and I'm about to tell you about my experience with immigration. But first, this opening sequence. The first thing we did after our honeymoon, we basically got all our paperwork together, and we didn't fill anything out until July and August of 2017. We got married in June 2017. We filled out the paperwork in July and August. We took our time because we did this without a lawyer. Basically, we educated ourselves. We looked at the websites. We downloaded everything. So the first place we went to for the paperwork, we went to USCIS.gov. We downloaded the paperwork for the I-130 visa. That's for the spousal visa. And from there, we make sure we downloaded everything we needed, all the forms we needed. We paid our $535 application fee. Ouch. And yes, it hurt, but it was just the beginning of a long process. So we did that. The check and the paperwork was mailed. I'm getting my notes here. The check and the paperwork was mailed to their Phoenix office, and we had to mail it to Phoenix because I live in Texas. That's the way it was on the website. So after the check was cashed and we received a receipt number, we basically had to wait until April of 2018 before we got notification that our application was approved for forwarding to the National Visa Center. So after that happened, in April, that also happens to be when civil unrest broke out in Nicaragua. And that resulted in the U.S. Embassy being closed for several months until September. So in the meantime, we basically made the best of it. We even got a senator involved to see if I can get my wife out of there because I was fearful for her life because of all the violence and everything that was going on over there. But that's a separate issue altogether. The next thing, we got our case number from NVC, and the website for NVC is NVC, like nvc.state.gov. And on that website is where you can find all the steps in the immigration process from their point of view. A lot of application fees and this fee and that form and this form was done. We did it exactly the way we were instructed to do so. We basically had to wait until the embassy reopened in September 5th of 2018 before we got basically back in line. So it slowed the process down, but it is what it is. So we received notes in December 10th of 2018 is when we received, or my wife received, her appointment for the interview, which was scheduled for January 10th of 2019. So yes, we got married in June of 2017, and we didn't get an interview until 2019. So the good thing is we had all our documents in order, which I think surprised everybody because we followed everything. We had our photos, we had our boarding passes from all our flights from all the times that I went to visit her. In the meantime, if I wasn't communicating with her on FaceTime, I was communicating with her face-to-face because I would visit her about every 2 or 3 months. And that was not cheap, I can tell you. So after that, I returned to Nicaragua in January 8th so that I could accompany her on her interview. So that was a very nice privilege. I was freaking out because so much was dependent on their answer. And thanks to God, they approved her. So Just those tears were flowing, and those were tears of happiness because it was a long process. After that, I went back to the United States. When I landed, I got notice that her visa was already ready. I'm like, wow. So her visa was ready the next day. So I went right back to Managua to help her get her stuff so that she can come back up here. So what we did is I flew in on the 19th of January. We flew back to Miami on the 20th of January, and we stayed overnight in Miami. And after that, the next day, we flew from Miami through Atlanta to Dallas because we were on a confirmed ticket, and that was the cheapest way to get here. When we arrived, we had a welcoming committee, basically, and they welcomed Yami to the United States, and we were basically happy to be together under the same roof at last. So I just wanted to share that with you. There is hope. You just have to have a lot of patience. And I can tell you this, if I had to do this all over again, I would not have done it myself. I would actually get a lawyer because a lot of the laws have changed and have become more strict. So if you're thinking about doing this, have a lot of patience, number one, and get all your documents in order and make sure that you have everything that the lawyer will need if you're going to go through a lawyer. If you do it on your own, make sure that you read carefully everything on the websites and everything on the documents, and just be very meticulous because it will make a big difference. Anyway, that's it. And Yami is here with me now. She's actually working on her YouTube channel, Tatita Vlogs. So if you speak Spanish, give her channel some love. I'll also put the link down in the description. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you, and here are some final thoughts.
Desde Texas.
Ya estoy acá, ya vine.
Ya llegó.
Ya llegué.
Ahora es nuestra.